started it? She has. Stand by.
All right, welcome to Friday Football Fever OT. We'll get some more highlights for you coming up from the games tonight in Week 7, Craig. And it was a cold week out there. I know a lot of fans didn't show up to games tonight. And look, I don't blame you at all because I know I was cold out there.
Yeah. I thought it was going to rain. So overall, I feel good about the weather.
Sure.
Because I thought we were going to get rained on during the football, but the rain was this afternoon. We've been lucky and avoided everything except for the cold.
Right.
Tonight.
But this was really the first week where it's been cold.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The first 6 weeks
Yeah.
were cake.
That's
Easy.
okay. And I don't think the players mind cold either because they're running around out there. It's everyone else sitting in the stands on the cold metal bleachers that, you know, you got plenty of blankets and everything else. But hey, that's football and it's football weather, and we're really starting to get into this time now where conference championships up for grab here. We'll really get into that next week when teams will be able to secure those conference titles, and we've got a great one in Effingham, Mount Zion. It's gonna be our spotlight game of the week, and it's all set up for this. I think when we looked at the beginning of the season, we said Week 8 is where it's at. They just need the teams to fall into place, and they certainly did here.
Yeah, Effingham and Taylorville tonight in Taylorville. This one is Nathan Shackelford keeping it, running it to the outside in for a touchdown for the Hearts there. Then Taylorville turns it over on downs in the red zone after coming up short on this run. Here then on the Tornadoes' next possession, tight end Chaz Allen gets the first down off the option. Then Cade Milam for the Tornadoes keeps it for himself. Quarterback keeper, a big run up the middle, knifing through the Hearts defense. Then Effingham back at it. Receiver Cameron Colbert brings in a touchdown at the end of the first quarter off the pass from Shackelford. Then more from Shackelford on the ground. Jukes a couple defenders in for his second score of the day, and Effingham just annihilating 48-6 tonight to remain undefeated. So they did their part, got to 7-0. Mount Zion, of course, they get to 7-0 as well. So 2 7-0 teams next week, our spotlight game of the week. Pretty much for the Apollo Conference title.
Yeah, that's going to be it because I don't think they play a Week 9 Apollo game, if I remember right. And so that's going to be it. Conference title up for grabs and most likely an undefeated season for one of those teams coming up. And Effingham's been really good the last couple of years. I feel like Mount Zion's been building up for this.
Yes.
Sage Davis, our athlete of the week, has just run wild. And we didn't have those Mount Zion highlights for you tonight, but they did win and got a pretty convincing win, I believe, at Lincoln.
Yeah.
And, they're able to do it. And so it all comes down to this. And this is the fun part as we kind of build up here towards the postseason and towards the playoffs.
Effingham had a couple not necessarily close games, but closer than expected games. Maybe it woke them up a little bit.
Sure.
Like maybe we have to take every team seriously. We can't slack. And now, like I said a couple times, 2 7-0 teams for a conference title. You can't get much better than that in Week 8.
It's gonna be fun. Yeah. And if it's cold too, that'll be great, right? Football weather, bear weather, something like that. All right. Our spotlight game of the week was Bismarck hitting Rossville Alvin at Oakwood. And the fun thing about this was Oakwood beat BHRA last year to share the title. It was the first conference title for Oakwood in forever, maybe even ever, if I remember right. And the Blue Devils come in 3-0. Comets 2-0. Right before half, Gavin Klaus makes a run for the touchdown. They go for 2, but don't convert on that. Then coming out of halftime, Blue Devils extend their lead, and they do it on defense. Brody Sexton with a pick 6. Blue Devils get 27 on the board at that point. So it's 27-6. They keep it going. Jacob Atkins on the run for the touchdown. And BHRA goes on to win, and win pretty convincingly here. 35-6. The final. Caleb Leahy, not sure if he played tonight. We didn't ask Marley Weirder, who was out there. But you know what? Even if he doesn't play,
that's him on the field. 24 on the field right there.
Okay.
So he's on the field.
He's on the field, which is a good thing to see. And you said last week when you were at their game, he got banged up a little bit. But after the game, BHRI just excited to come out with a win. BHRA in the driver's seat, no doubt, to win the Vermilion Valley Conference title and win it outright this year. They have Salt Fork next week. Salt Fork was one of those 2-0 teams in the VVC. They play tomorrow.
Yeah, Salt Fork plays tomorrow.
And I believe that's a non-conference game.
Salt Fork, I can't remember who they play.
So that'll still determine where they're at with Salt Fork. But if they can beat Salt Fork, VVC is going to be the outright VVC champs.
Is it it's Salt Fork Hoopston, right?
Hoopston, is that right?
I think it's Hoopston. Tomorrow at 6. But yeah, last week BHRA facing that Chicago Hope team. I went out to BHRA this week, did our spotlight story, and I talked to Mark Dodd, their head coach, about
what that game did for them, because that's Chicago Hope's a team they're not going to find around here. They're not going to play a team like that from here. There was a lot of speed on that team and athletic ability on that team. He said even though they lost, it was only good for them.
Right.
So like you mentioned, Leahy, he was on the sideline for the first couple drives, and then Weston Strasser got hurt. He was getting his ankle wrapped up last week, and so Leahy went in on some goal line possessions. But it's smart of them not to push Caleb Leahy, because you need him to make a deep postseason run. But
and did you say that Chicago Hope team played BHRA a couple years ago? Last year? Did we talk about it?
They played GCMS last year in the playoffs.
GCMS you talked about, yeah.
They played GCMS. Chicago Hope played GCMS in the playoffs last year. I think GCMS won by like 24, 25.
Okay. Sure.
But this Chicago Hope team has high expectations and high goals from what I've heard from a couple different people. So that was a good test for them, and they're probably better for it, even though they're got that one loss in that one in that loss column. They're probably better for that loss.
Right, and see if they can get past that second round. That's haunted the Blue Devils the last couple of years.
Yeah.
You mentioned that in your story earlier this week, where they just haven't been able to get past that point, and you feel like this is the team to do it with Avery McConkey. You spotlighted him earlier this week and did a great job with that story. Caleb Leahy and the defense they have as well. So
they got weapons.
We'll see if they can advance. And one shakeup that we've had is the Lincoln Prairie this
Can't
year.
figure
I don't
this
know
conference
what to think
out.
of it is.
I have no
First
clue.
year in the new conference, and you were at Arcola tonight, and they
Arcola,
looked like the team
TriCounty.
that everyone thought they'd look like.
Yeah, they look good, but when I first got there, the first quarter horn buzzed, and so this is like early in the second quarter, and it's TriCounty actually striking first while I was there. Daniel Drake breaking a couple tackles, and he's off for a long score, but this was all Arcola at this point from then on. It was 28-6 Arcola at that point, but Austin Hopkins, a bulldozer from the goal line up the middle. That made it 35-6. And then you think of Arcola as a ground and pound, just run it down your throat kind of team. But Bo Jones and his left arm had quite the second quarter. He finds Pedro Guiana here to make it 42-6 Purple Riders. They're celebrating on the sideline. Yeah, and then another passing touchdown. Jones to Diego Perez. This is a nice catch over on the sideline of the end zone and celebrating over there. 48-6, and they're not done going through the air. Jones again from inside the 5 rolls out and hits Ivan Garza. 56-6. Arcola still in the first half, and they put up 62 tonight, 62-20. They beat TriCounty.
If they can pass as well as they can run, I think they're a big time, at least quarterfinal threat in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, I mean, from week 1 when I saw them against Argenta, I didn't know that if they would lose a game. So for them to have a loss or two now.
Well, they lost to
Tuscola, and then
lost
Cumberland.
A couple weeks ago to Cumberland.
So I didn't see those games, don't know what happened in those games, but I'm shocked, because every time I've seen Arcola, they have looked so good.
And that's what's the crazy thing is that Cumberland loses tonight at home to Villa Grove Heritage on a 4th and 50 with 7 seconds left, which is crazy.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of shakeup in that league, and I'm not sure who is really, truly good and who is just kind of mediocre at this point.
Yeah.
Credit to ALAH, they're playoff eligible now at 5-2. First time they've done that since 2014, and so they're all kind of beating up on each other. We'll see how it all shakes out, and that's kind of the true test of the measure, right? How many teams advance in the postseason and what those scores look like the first and second rounds.
It's a lot of teams that are similar.
Sure.
So one team will beat another, and then that team that they beat will lose to a team that the team that beat them lost to, and one of those things when it's a round robin, every team goes 1-1 because they beat up on each other.
A lot of parity in the Lincoln Prairie.
Yeah.
All right. First place Clifton Central, ranked number 1 a few weeks ago.
Number 1 in the state a few weeks ago.
They're proving that they're pretty good here. They welcome
Play the week winner.
Lauda to town tonight, and a play of the week winner as well. They're hosting PBL tonight, and Jay Lemminger to Chandler Burrow for the touchdown to put the Comets ahead, trying to defend home field. Then Garrett Graham with the short touchdown run as well. Clifton with some nice size on the ground game. PBL trying to get back in it here. It's Gunnar Belt to Hunter Anderson, who
this is a long touchdown run.
Yeah, he makes some nice plays here, getting to the sideline and getting all the way in. Nice block downfield there. I'd love to see that as well. Clean block down the field.
Breaks the tape at the end.
Yeah, he's in for the touchdown. But this one really belonged to Clifton tonight. Another pass here to the near side of the field, breaking a few more tackles. That gets him inside, looks like the 35 there. And this one belongs to Clifton Central tonight, 29-14. So Clifton continues to roll on that. They've got the straight path now to win the Sangamon Valley as long as they take
That one was
this week.
tied at 14 at one point. So Clifton scores the last 15 at least. They might have scored the last 20.
Sure, and that's been a sneaky good program the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's
What
somewhere
they've
that
been able to do.
admittedly we don't get to a lot. We've hit them a lot this year.
Yeah.
But they're consistent. Last year I think they lost their first 2 games and then they rattled off 7 in a row. Or maybe 2 years ago, to win the conference. So it's just one of those programs that you can expect if things aren't going right, they're going to right the ship and they're going to figure it out.
Yeah, Brian Spooner, Hall of Fame coach there for a
Exactly,
reason.
yep.
Right? All right, well, hey, that's going to do it for Friday Football Fever OT. Thanks so much for watching. We'll do it again next week. Just 2 weeks left here in the regular season before playoffs are here. For Craig, I'm Bret. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Good night. Thanks, Amelia.
Your first of many.
Oh, yeah.